Hey, what's going on, everyone? All right, for this video, I just want to talk about some random ECW shows, old school ECW shows, and just kind of give my thoughts on them. I haven't seen a lot of the old school ECW, so I definitely wanted to make an effort and go back and watch some of these shows. And yeah, had a really good time watching them. It's amazing what ECW accomplished. Considering a lot of these guys weren't spectacular wrestlers, but so much personality was involved. Just the storylines were great. Everything was just beautiful. I mean, the atmosphere was just never going to be anything like it. So, all right. So the first show I want to talk about is Heat Wave 1996. This was not a pay-per-view. This was just an ECW arena show. The one match that you should definitely check out from this show, and I've seen it on compilation DVDs before. Shane Douglas, Chris Jericho, Tuco Scorpio, and Pittbull #2. This is a four corners match for the ECW Television Championship. Yeah, I mean, this was great. Jericho was the ECW TV champion. I think this is right before he went to WCW. He was actually the first one eliminated. Great match. This is where Francine, turned on Pitbull #2 inside it with Shane Douglas. Shane Douglas won the television championship. This was great. I just love the atmosphere. These guys got time. This went almost about an hour. And Tuco Scorpio looked awesome in this match. A lot of hardcore stuff. This is where I believe Pitbull #2 actually powerbombed Francine through the table. He pretty much turned on him while the match was still going on. So they played off of that. And yeah, like you could definitely argue this is the greatest ECW match of all time. I've seen some people have it in the top 5, and I can't argue with them because this is great. 4.5 stars. So definitely check it out. All right, next up. I want to talk about ECW's arguably their greatest pay-per-view ever. A lot of people will consider this as the greatest ECW pay-per-view of all time. From top to bottom, this is just a spectacular card. Not a lot of matches, but not a lot of filler. You had 6 matches on this show. Just incredible. Jerry Lynn, awesome opener. Chris Candido and Lance Storm had a nice, solid 10-minute match with Candido and Storm really sold the fact that they hated each other. Sunny was there; she got involved. We had the first Masato, Tanaka, and Mike Awesome match. I believe this is one of their first matches. You haven't seen their matches; they're just insane. I'll talk more about this stuff later, but yeah, that was great stuff. You had Sabu and RVD defeated Hayabusa and Shinzaki. This is a dream tag team match right there. I wasn't that impressed with Hayabusa. He looked pretty awful out there, but it wasn't a spectacular match all around if you're looking at it from a critical standpoint. But yeah, a lot of fun to watch. Sabu and Van Dam hit some awesome double team spots. I mean, there was one spot in the match where Van Dam actually had one of the guys in his surfboard, and then Sabu would just come down from the top turnbuckle with the chair and just bang it right into his stomach. That looked pretty sick. I mean, like I said, very, very fun to watch. You could argue this as being match of the night. And then you had another awesome match between Taz and Bam Bam Bigelow. Their matches are just insane. Once again, their matches pretty much featured these 6 spots to end the match. The first one, I think the first one happened at Living Dangerously '98. That's where they suplex each other through the ring. And then in this one, they actually there was like a tornado DDT, and both guys actually went through the floor in the middle of the ring aisle. So that was, like I said, just another great match between those two guys. Bam Bam Bigelow, for a big man, I agree. He's one of the best big men of all time. So that was Heat Wave '98. The main event was pretty much a tables match with the Dudleys, Dreamer, Sandman, and Spike Dudley. New Jack actually came out at the end of the show. And New Jack, part of the Gangsters at this time, like '98, '99, he would come out with the Ice Cube and Dr. Dre Natural Born Killers theme song. When that song played, everyone would just explode. And yeah, that's one of the best theme songs in wrestling history, in my opinion. Just got a great reaction. And when New Jack would come out, they would just play the song throughout his whole match. So I thought that was pretty funny. But New Jack is kind of like Homicide, black guy, very, very cutting edge. He does a lot of high spots as well. And I'll talk more about him later. But yeah, that was Heat Wave '98. Like I said, one of the best ECW pay-per-views in history. All right, so we'll move on to Guilty as Charged 1999. Now, I wanted to check this out because of Rob Van Dam versus Lance Storm. This is one of RVD's best matches in ECW from what I've seen. Very underrated. I thought WWE should have put this on Van Dam's DVD when it came out, because I really think this match deserves a lot more appreciation. You could definitely argue that Lance Storm was RVD's best opponent besides Jerry Lynn in ECW. Lance Storm is just very, very high-flying and very good shape. I think Van Dam, Lance Storm, and Jerry Lynn, all 3 guys had amazing years in 1999. So, some people would say that '99 was when ECW started going downhill. I can't really tell you. I imagine 94, 95, 96 was their best years as far as storylines go. I know Paul Heyman won Booker of the Year every single year from the Pro Wrestling Observer, but as far as 99 goes, Van Dam was on fire in 1999. You could argue that Rob Van Dam was the best wrestler in the world, and I think he was from what I've seen, in my opinion. So, um, a Stairway to Hell match, he had Justin Credible and Tommy Dreamer. That was a great match. That's where Dreamer actually did the Ace Crusher to Credible off the top of the ladder. And then also on the show, you had Taz defeat Shane Douglas to win the ECW championship, which was a good match. I'm not that high on Shane Douglas. I think he's very, very overrated from what I've seen. I just haven't seen enough of him. I know he's great on the mic. I know, he's very important to the legacy of ECW because he made and turned the NWA championship into the Eastern Championship Wrestling championship. So, but like I said, I've never been impressed with Shane Douglas in the ring. Kind of reminiscent of Jeff Jarrett to me. I feel like they're kind of look at both of them the same way, like pretty good at feuds, but not that great in the ring. So all right, so move on to Living Dangerously 1999. This was an awesome pay-per-view. You could argue this is the greatest pay-per-view in ECW history as well. This featured the first Rob Van Dam versus Jerry Lynn match on pay-per-view. They had a match in the summertime in 1998, which was great as well. But this was, I would say that this is their best match. I've kind of changed my mind. This was spectacular. It went to a 20-minute time limit draw. Jerry Lynn asked for 5 more minutes, got 5 more minutes, and Van Dam still beat him. Some sick stuff in this match. I love the spot where Jerry Lynn countered Van Dam's kick and then did a leg drop on him and smashed Rob Van Dam's head into the steel chair. That was awesome. Jerry Lynn did a beautiful counter to a Northern Light suplex. And Jerry Lynn did one of the sickest DDTs I've seen. Yeah, like Van Dam looked like an eye after the DDT. That's how sick it looked like. So like I said, Van Dam and Jerry Lynn from Living Dangerously 99. You could argue this as being ECW's greatest match of all time, and I really think it is. Then you had Taz and Sabu. This was the FTW, the Fuck the World title, and the ECW title unification match. I thought this was it was a great match, but I'm not so sure if it's really deserving of the title of the greatest ECW match of all time, like some people say it was. I'm not sure if it was the best Taz and Sabu match of all time. I think the match from Barely Legal might have been a little bit better, but it was still great, though. Sabu took some vicious suplexes onto tables, took some vicious bumps in this match, so I still recommend checking it out. And so that was Living Dangerously 1999. Also a highlight from the show, New Jack actually faced his former partner, Mustafa, from the Gangsters, and he did a sick splash off the top of the balcony through a table. That was sick, but it wasn't much of a match though. And also you had Super Crazy and Tajiri on this show. These two guys had a great opening matchup. Tajiri at first, like I felt like he was too much like a generic Japanese wrestler, but as time goes on, you can see Paul Heyman definitely packaged him and made him a lot better. As he just connected with the fans a lot more as 1999 went on. So. All right, next show I want to talk about is Hardcore Heaven 99. All right, so obviously Hardcore Heaven 99, pretty much the first thing that jumps out at you is Rob Van Dam versus Jerry Lynn, the rematch, the no time limit match. Now, I think the problem with this match and why some people prefer the Living Dangerously match over this was, Van Dam was stalling for time in the beginning, which actually added to the match, in my opinion. It definitely gave the match its own identity. He was very, very cocky, Van Dam, in this match, just pretty much toying with RVD. And then Lynn got pissed off, and then it just got awesome from there. Like I said, some vicious spots in the match. This is where Jerry Lynn did a beautiful sunset flip to Van Dam through a table. At the time, that was just sick, and just so much great action in this match. This is just another classic. There's very little about the match that you could say was bad about it. But I guess the thing that hurts it was. It was a little bit botchy though. It was a little bit sloppy at some points, but still an amazing match right there. I'll still give it 5 stars because I just love watching those two guys wrestle so much. So, and then also on the show, you had Taz and Bubba Ray Dudley in the main event. Not that great of a match, but not as bad as some people say it was. I thought it was good for what it was. You really couldn't expect too much there. Lance Storm and Tommy Dreamer had a good match, so that's pretty much it. That was Hardcore Heaven 99. I thought that was a very good show as well.